You know, every gardener has that moment when an older neighbor, a grandparent, or maybe a village elder just casually drops a piece of advice that sounds way too simple to be real, yet somehow, it ends up changing everything. For me, it was this one soil trick shared by an elderly farmer who'd honestly been growing food longer than I'd been alive. No fertilizer bags, no fancy compost tumblers, no store-bought boosters, just a method passed down through generations, built on observation, patience, and, well, an understanding of nature that modern gardening often forgets. That trick? Layered organic ground feeding, adding thin, steady layers of natural matter directly onto the soil all year long. It sounded basic, almost boring honestly, but once I tried it, my soil transformed faster than anything I had used before. Most gardeners think soil improvement comes from big events. Dump a load of compost, till it in, add manure, and hope for the best. Elders don't work that way. They feed the soil the way nature does, quietly, continuously, and from above. Instead of burying organic matter deep into the ground where microbes can't reach it, this method keeps nutrients on the surface. The sun, rain, worms, and microorganisms work together to slowly pull it down. Nothing is forced, nothing is rushed. Soil biology decides the pace. This simple principle creates soil that is soft and crumbly, rich in carbon, packed with microbial life, moist even during dry spells, and naturally fertilized. It's kind of like turning your entire garden into a forest floor, alive, self-repairing, and incredibly resilient. Here's how the elders do it. Instead of one big application of compost or manure, they sprinkle tiny amounts of organic matter every week or every few days. It could be crushed dry leaves, grass clippings, ground up kitchen scraps, plant trimmings, ash, a handful of aged manure, a sprinkle of soil from a healthy garden, or even crushed eggshells or charcoal dust. The key is small amounts often, never thick layers that smother the soil. Every time you pass through the garden, drop something, a handful here, a thin scatter there, no pressure, no schedule, no heavy lifting, the soil gradually builds itself. Once I started using this method, I realized what I'd been doing wrong for years. Modern gardening tries to fix soil with sudden injections of nutrients, which often leads to imbalance or runoff. Elders use nature's rhythm. So, here's why their method works so well. First, let's talk about continuous microbe feeding. Microbes don't eat big chunks, they really thrive on a constant trickle of fresh material. By adding thin layers, you keep them active every day, not just for one big burst. Next, worms move in fast. Worms absolutely love soft, fresh matter. With frequent light feedings, they stick around near the surface, aerating and fertilizing the soil naturally. Another thing is, moisture retention improves. These tiny layers act kind of like a breathable soil blanket. They hold moisture without overheating or suffocating the ground, and there's no nitrogen burn, no overfeeding. Since everything breaks down slowly, you avoid the risk of burning your plants with too much manure or fertilizer. Finally, soil structure transforms automatically. Over time, the soil becomes loose, dark, and incredibly fertile, without any tilling at all. I'm not exaggerating when I say the improvement was dramatic. My tomatoes developed thicker stems and deeper roots. Carrots grew straighter instead of hitting hard clumps. The soil stopped forming crusts after rain. Even stubborn dry patches held moisture longer. Weeds became easier to pull because the soil turned fluffy and rich. And the best part? I didn't spend a single extra coin. I used only what I already had. You can begin this method immediately, even if your soil is compacted, sandy, or completely exhausted. Here's how. First, start with whatever organic matter you have. Dry grass, a handful of compost leaves, chopped weeds as long as they're seed-free. Next, scatter a thin layer. Fine, like seasoning, not thick, like mulch. Repeat every few days or once a week. Let the worms do the mixing. No tilling needed. Stick with it for a full season, and watch your soil transform. That's it. No machines, no bags, no chemicals. The old farmer who taught me this smiled and said, "Soil is like a child. Feed it a little, but feed it often. It will grow strong for you." He wasn't wrong. This one timeless method, steady, natural, and unbelievably easy, did more for my garden than any store-bought fertilizer ever could. If your garden soil feels tired, heavy, sandy, or lifeless, try this elder secret. Give your soil gentle, consistent nourishment, and it will repay you with strength, fertility, and harvests that actually feel effortless.